Pope alive.
Unsyndicated presents Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian.
Good evening. We wanted to go on a little early tonight because there's a football game we all want to watch. Shep, I fell asleep last night, by the way. I'm just calling myself out. I needed to. It's like you are my priest, and I'm giving you my confession. I have unhealthy love for Josh Allen, and how did I treat the love of my life? I fell asleep on him, and I missed his whole damn game, and I missed the incredible comeback. So I just felt the need to purge my soul to you. Okay.
Yeah, now you know how Kristen feels. I think. I gave up on it. I don't know what's worse.
Yeah.
When they failed the 2-point conversion, I went, I'm done. Since you and I both have to get up early in the morning.
Yep.
Not in the same room, but you know what I mean. So I said, you know what? I'm giving up on it. There was a hell of a comeback. It was a really nice game. In the morning, I turn on some NFL news and I went, what in the hell happened? He was magical, man. I mean, that dude is Superman. Both of them were, right? Him and Lamar Jackson. Josh Allen, dude, he takes it to another level. He's unbelievable. Love watching him play.
Yeah, he's so much fun, and I think I have so much fun with it, Shep, because if you remember, he was one of those guys. Everybody and their brother said it's not going to work. He's this, he's that, he's not. You know, the quote unquote talent evaluators, and quite frankly, last night was a matchup of two guys. Because if you remember, I mean, how many times did people say Lamar Jackson's not even going to be a quarterback at the National Football League level? You might want to try him someplace else. It's amazing how that stuff works out, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, I called 2 games of Josh Allen's in college when he was at Wyoming. I didn't see this. I don't know how you could have. He's a completely different player. The way he throws, I mean, really good Netflix or HBO series. I forget what it's just. I think it's Hard Knocks. It's HBO. And how they've worked on his throwing motion and his delivery and his hips and his arm and everything else. He's just a different dude, man. He's incredibly athletic. The thing I like about him, probably more than anything else, Sean, is just he's just a good dude, right?
Yeah.
He's a great representation of the National Football League, the Buffalo Bills, and his last name.
Yep, no doubt about that. He's Shep. I'm Sean. Hi. Shep, obviously.
Go for you this morning. Bring back memories?
It did bring back memories. And do you know what it also told me? And I, listen, I'm going to say it, and I know I'm going to regret saying it, but I have to say it. There are just a lot of dumb people out there that don't understand the game of football. I said it, and I'm not going to apologize for it either. No, really.
When you refer to that, it's not fans only.
No, it's amazing to me. It is.
I'm sorry. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Shep, what else do people need to see? Year in, year out, okay? And I know we all get infatuated with shiny things, okay? Ooh, look at that shiny thing. Ooh, look at that shiny thing. The importance of both sides of the line of scrimmage cannot be understated. You and I talked about this back, shortly after it happened. I was on the air when it happened, when Frank announced his retirement. You cannot quantify the loss of Frank Ragnow. You can't put it into words. And
in so many ways.
Before the Packer fans jump in, okay, we got our butts whooped yesterday. Okay, we did. We got our butts whooped yesterday. So don't think I'm sitting here making any kind of excuses.
There are none.
Whooping. But Shep, anybody with half a brain, you're taking out arguably the best center in the game, okay? You're taking him off the lineup, and people are going, oh, it's no big deal. I mean, what that guy does for the entire line it cannot be understated. It's impossible to understate that.
I agree. Some of the people outside of Detroit would say, well, Philadelphia lost Jason Kelce, and Juergens comes in and steps in, and they still remain the best offensive line. That's on your front office. That's on your management to make sure there is not as much slippage. It's hard to replace a man who's impactful as Frank Ragnow and who does as much as Frank Reich, we don't understand it. We don't. There's a lot of football players who don't understand how important that center truly is, what he's doing to help the offense. So when you try to quantify it, it's impossible. But even when you try and talk about it, we really don't come from a place where we completely understand either, whether it be the calls, how much he's helping, how much he's sliding, how much he's changing things in his own right, the leadership, the battling, the inspiration, all that stuff. But the Eagles were able to get by it. Why couldn't Detroit? My confusion, Sean, is this. If you're, and I've already said this, I said this with Braylon, I said it on my show, I've said it all over the place. If you're thinking long-term, and this is what Brad Holmes and or Dan Campbell said, if you're thinking long-term that Tate Ratledge is your center, why wouldn't you put him at center right away? Why wouldn't you just make him your center in camp, let him thrive, let him learn, let him make mistakes, let him fail, and have him ready for the preseason or for the regular season? Like, play him a lot in the preseason and then play him during the regular season. Graham Glasgow's favorite position and best position is right guard anyway. And if he fails, then you replace him at guard. If that's your long-term solution, for crying out loud, do it now. Why are you playing him at guard?
You know what's interesting, Shep, and I'm glad that you brought up Philly, because this is the one thing that I added to it. I am not going alarmist and saying this is the way it's going to be the rest of the year or anything like that. I think Philly really struggled at the beginning of last year. I mean, they were 2-2 heading into the bye week. There has to be cohesion. There has to be, again, I think, Shep, and you know this, for people out there, I'm not blowing smoke up your behind. Matt Shepard played quarterback. Okay. Shout out to North Farmington. Shep, you know the importance of a center. Okay. The center is just not the center. Okay. Literally, he is the smartest guy on the line. He's calling out where the assignments are, what the alignment should be. He's basically telling the guys to his left and to his right, this is what you have to do to be better. Okay. And we had one of the best centers in the game. And I had people tell me that it wasn't that big of a deal. And I had people tell me afterwards, like after yesterday, oh, it wouldn't have been much different with Frank Ragnow in there. I got nothing for you, man. I can't teach you common sense things. So that's when I have to kind of pull the chute and just jump out of the plane.
Yeah, it's hard to understand if that guy doesn't make a difference, who does? I mean, in baseball, we look at catcher, shortstop, second baseman, center fielder, right? Up the middle, right? Why you talk hockey as well as anybody. 200-foot center, right? So Sidney Crosby's the greatest in the world. How come football we don't look at the same thing? Oh, as you said, because of the shiny penny. I was in Green Bay. I was at Lambeau Field yesterday, okay?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I made it a point. Thanks for following. I made it a point.
Did you eat any sausage? Just tell me that. That's all I want.
No, I did have spotted cow, though.
All right, good.
I made it a point to watch Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge on offense, and I watched Davenport, Hutchinson, Williams, and Arnold on defense. That's as much. I tried to concentrate on them as much as possible, while watching the football. And when you watch those guys on the interior and how important they truly are for the quarterback, for the passing game, for the running game, for everything, they are the heartbeat of that team. And obviously those guys struggled. I mean, all you got to do is look at the PFF grades, right? Pro Football Focus has Graham Glasgow as the lowest graded player. I'm not saying he's done. I'm not saying you should give up on him. And I don't think that this team I'm not in panic mode by any stretch, but that Green Bay team was more physical, Sean. They beat them up.
1,000%. 1,000%. Let me get to some comments here. Andrew, I think Andrew is one of our resident Packer fans. It really is amazing what scouts see. Sometimes they miss it. Sometimes they don't. Mike said, life was so much easier with zero expectations. Hard not to react after yesterday. Overreact. Luke said, year in, year out, I'm not taking away what the Lions have done the past couple of years. It's impressive, but can we stop acting like this is a 10-year long run the Lions are currently on? How much time do you think this regime really has after losing both coordinators and two great offensive linemen who have been here for the last few years? I'm not going to change my tune about the coordinators, you guys. I'm just not. Okay. And I'll use Philly. I can use Dallas. I can use example after example after example. Okay. Luke, with all due respect to you, I'm a firm believer that players make plays. Firm believer.
Same here.
Sorry.
I mean, you're not saying, and neither am I, that coaching isn't important.
No. Yes.
And that it didn't play a factor. It's just that when you have the horses that the Lions have, don't tell me that it's all on the coordinators. Remember, during camp, this defense is going to be so much more aggressive. Well, they were aggressive yesterday. They blitzed. They didn't get home. That's because Detroit didn't do their job. That's not because Kelvin Shepard was bad. Okay. If Green Bay's able to cover downfield and Jared Goff's getting pressure and he can't complete the pass and stuff like that, is that on, John Morton? That's a good debate that's going to rage on for the rest of the season, or at least until the Lions start having some more consistency and more success.
And I do want to say this though to you as well, Luke, is I think this has been, I don't know where the year in year out came from. I don't know if that was for me or for Shep, and I don't know where that came from. So by all means, if you want to expound on that, you can. But I will add this. Yes, we're in that window right now. I don't care if it's been 2.5 years. I don't care if it's been 10 years. Like, you can't tell me that we're not in that window right now, especially with all the talent on this team. Now, where we will agree is when you are taking out, one of the best centers in the game, there's going to be a drop-off. And if you've listened to me at all, and I know he has as well, I'm sorry. I've been fighting the slapdicks out there saying, guys, this is going to take some time. It took some time for Philly. But the coordinator thing, I'm just not going to get – Philly lost a coordinator at the end of 23 and then lost another at the end of 22, lost another coordinator at the end of 23. They had a coordinator that was there for exactly 1 year and a brand new coordinator, and they won a Super Bowl. Like, stop. I'm sorry. Yeah. I've seen Dallas lost both their coordinators. Whatever will they do without Dave Wanstead and Norv Turner? And they went and won 2 more Super Bowls. Like, right. Stop. I don't know what else to tell you, man.
Yeah.
Players
Philly lost both their had to replace both coordinators and won the Super Bowl last year. Okay,
yes.
With Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio. And as far as, replacing guys, we act like second-round picks can't be valuable. Larry Allen was a second-round pick. Dan Dierdorf was a second-round pick. Ryan Khalil was a second-round pick. Those guys as offensive linemen were pretty impactful from what I can recall. And if that's the case, then could you not use the argument, and I know there are exceptions to the rule. I'm not going to go Howie Long and Willie Lanier and Drew Brees and guys like that. But, I mean, you and I remember we were real little kids, but Dwight Stevenson, some center for the Miami Dolphins, he's a second-round pick. How many people thought Rob Gronkowski is a second-round pick or Michael Strahan is a second-round pick would come in and, you know what, help their teams a lot?
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, sure, they get it wrong sometimes, but there's a lot of guys who got it right. Hi, Bobby Wagner. Hi, Roger Craig. Hi, Brian Dawkins. Those guys are second-round picks. Why do we think it's almost impossible that Tate Ratledge can come in as a second-round pick and not start right away? I have the belief that if you're going to draft somebody in the first, second, or third round, they should be starters. So it's going to take a little bit of time. You're right. He's going to have to learn, but he's going to have to learn quickly. He knows that, all right? My bigger concern was their inability to get any type of push against a Green Bay interior defensive line that was supposed to be weakened in the trade that sent Kenny Clark to Dallas.
Did a good job moving things around. I mean, that they really did. They did a good job moving things around. And you know what they did? They did what any smart team would do. They knew that the soft underbelly of the Detroit Lions was that interior offensive line. And oh, by the way, we also have a quarterback. Shep, this is one of the biggest straw man arguments that, like, I think about it and I'm starting to get a migraine. Okay. And tell me if you've heard some variation of this argument. Jared Goff doesn't like pressure. Well, no quarterback likes pressure. Well, no shit. Yeah. Okay. How quarterbacks handle pressure is something entirely different. Okay. Right. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. I can name 15 quarterbacks off the top of my head are going to handle pressure, especially the pressure that comes up the middle, better than Jared Goff.
Yeah.
That is a fact. It is undeniable. Again, That doesn't mean that I don't want Jared Goff. I've turned on Jared Goff. It's just that straw man argument drives me out of my mind.
Yeah, he did do a couple of times yesterday. I thought he did a really good job of getting away from pressure. He's not going to be the guy who beats you to the edge. It's just, we know that. Everybody knows that. They've known that since he was a first overall pick out of Cal, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
You keep him clean. You keep a pocket for him. He will pick teams apart. There's no question about it. And believe me, Sean, yesterday I'm sitting near people and they're Lions fans. They are screaming in my ear, how in the world do they keep throwing underneath? Why don't they throw downfield? I finally turned around, I think in the third quarter, and I said, don't you think he'd throw downfield if there was somebody open downfield? Don't you think he'd throw downfield if he had time to throw downfield? Do you think they call in from the sidelines, here's what we're going to do. We're going to throw a check down of 3 yards, and we're just going to make Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Khalif Raymond run so they can get in better shape? I mean, come on, man.
Yep, that's exactly. Mark said it's almost like the Ragnow retirement caught them with their pants down. Shep, I don't know this for sure, so if you know for sure, yell at me. And I know you don't need any invitation to yell at me anyway, pal. But I think they thought they had one more year. I think they thought they had one more year. Is that a fair statement?
I think they had a pretty good idea. From what I understand, they had a pretty good idea that he was seriously contemplating retirement. I don't think they were caught with their pants down, but I sure don't think they expected it to come at the time that it did, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think they knew he was considering it. How that may have changed things, I don't know. I really don't.
No, I hear you.
I think it's fair for people to wonder aloud why you wouldn't reassure yourself inside, knowing that Miles Frazier was hurt as a 6th-round pick. You've got some guys that you've tried to develop a little bit. I think it's fair to assume that there's a lot of people upset that they didn't shore up the edge rushers too. I guess from a salary cap standpoint, Sean, I got to try and take everything into consideration, and they still got room under that cap. But I think I'm trying to take as much information as possible and using it from a financial standpoint. He knew he was going to get Jameson Williams done, so he had to prepare for that. He knows he's going to get a couple of other guys done. He's preparing for that. I'm not saying it's the right thing. I'm just telling you that's something that he's thinking far ahead. He's like A.J. Hinch in the 3rd inning. A.J. Hinch isn't thinking about the 3rd. He's not thinking about the 4th. He's thinking about the 5th and 6th. Right. He already knows what's going to happen in the 3rd and 4th. He's thinking long term, right? He's thinking like a golfer on an approach shot to the green. I'm not thinking of getting on the green. I'm thinking of where I've got to hit that slope so it rolls down. He's a hockey coach behind the bench going, I've got a plan for these combinations of lines in case this happens. That's the stuff that Brad Holmes is thinking about. Again, I'm not making excuses for him by any stretch. I think he needed to address a couple of issues for sure, and he didn't, and it's disappointing. But, everyone thinking that it should have been an automatic Zadarius Smith, $9 million, no problem, and they forget that it would cost them $11 million had he stayed with Detroit, I think are missing a little bit of the big picture there.
New England replaced their coordinators every year. We brought up Philly. We brought up Dallas. New England's a perfect example. Troy, every one of those guys went and took a head coaching job, and most of them failed. But there's another example.
Charlie Weiss went to the collegiate game.
The smartest man. Oh. You have no idea how smart.
Only Jim Schwartz was smarter in that room, or Matt.
That boy. Together? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Luke came back. Totally respect that. Totally fair. I'm a big fan of both of yours. I've been listening to you, Sean, since you were in GR. Thank you. I just think in certain particular situation, coordinators are big, especially with comfortability and familiarity. There's validity to that. I think Ben Johnson and Jared Goff had that. If Goff and that offensive line can get back to last year's consistency, I will admit that I am wrong, and Ben Johnson wasn't as important as I thought. Here's the thing. If it was just Ben Johnson, I think we would get a better gauge of it. But you take out Zeitler and, again, Frank Ragnow, and now you're talking about something totally different.
100%.
At least I've been consistent. Day one, you can't quantify the loss of Frank Ragnow. You can't. And I say it today,
Yeah, I think that's really well said. If it were just, we lost Ben Johnson from offense, that's it, then you can probably judge it a little bit better. But and we're not making excuses for John Morton. When you're trying to replace three offensive positions, and that's what it is, you're replacing two guys, but it's three offensive positions. Oh, and by the way, giving more time to a guy like Khalif Raymond, who should be the 4, and Isaac TeSlaa should be the 3, and you're trying to incorporate some different ways where you're not showing your hand quite as obvious by using more Montgomery and Gibbs together. I think that's a different scenario than just losing the coordinator in general.
Hold on. If it wouldn't change the draft strategy, but why not address the center position via free agency? And then Zach asked, what was the most disappointing part of the game for you? Where do I start?
I don't think there was one positive thing from the game, to be honest with you. Now, I know coaches will look at film, and that's what you need to do. We don't have that ability, right? But coaches will look at film. I didn't think there was one positive thing about that game other than, I thought Jack Campbell was all over the place, but I didn't see a whole lot of positives coming out of there. How about you?
No, really, honestly, the whole, and this goes to Luke's point. The offensive play calling was mystifying. What was it? 10 receptions for 31 yards from Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yes, 31 yards. It's the fewest yards of any player in history who've caught 10 catches or who caught 10 passes.
Yeah. So, those are the kinds of things that, but
well, let me ask you this. I had this debate with my son about this. Answer me this. When people say the play calling for the offense, I always ask them to be a little bit more specific. Like, what do you mean play calling? So my son's like, they didn't go downfield. I said, did you watch? It's not like the receivers didn't go downfield. They did. Okay. If the receivers aren't getting open, if you don't have time, do you just want to throw it downfield? Like the guy next to me at Lambeau was constantly screaming that. He's 3 sheets to the wind because he was drinking cinnamon schnapps, but he's screaming about that. And he's like, I can't believe all they're doing is running the ball. At halftime, I looked at him and I said, they have 16 passes and 16 runs, just so you know. He's like, they got to be more like Kansas City. I said, Kansas City lost the other day. Oh yeah. Well, I'm tired of this stuff. We could be like Cincinnati. I said, you realize Cincinnati scored, 16 points. Joe Burrow threw for 113 yards, and Cincinnati didn't make the playoffs last year, and Detroit led the league in scoring. I said, I'm not trying to make excuses. It's just that you're sitting here telling me that this is what you would play after the fact. I want you to tell me what you would do. You want to just throw the ball downfield for the sake of throwing it downfield. Guys have to be open. You have to have time to do it. And that's part of an offensive coordinator's job, is to get a feel for that, for sure. But I'd like to know what people mean more specifically about the play calling itself.
Do you know what it was, Shep? I thought you were going in a different direction with it, but I'm glad that you brought that up. Did you see some of the routes? I thought some of the overhead pictures were pretty good of trying to sharpen the routes and everything, and not taking advantage of the coverage that Green Bay was putting out there. You're absolutely right. These guys weren't getting open, and it got to the point where if I'm sitting at home on my couch in Northville, and I know damn well he's throwing to Amon-Ra St. Brown on third down, what do you think the Green Bay Packers know, right?
Yeah, if the problem with that, I know exactly what you're talking about. We did that on our show today, and we did it in Braylon's breakdown. The problem with that is, and I only learned this through Braylon, so I'm not trying to be a know-it-all. They started in cover 4 at pre-snap read. At the snap, and then when he was barking out the signals, they changed to cover 2, and then on the snap, they changed to cover 6. So they went through 3 different things. He went to Amon-Ra St. Brown because he probably was looking at the cover 2 aspect of it, which would have made that area wide open. When they shifted to cover 6, if he looks left, Jameson Williams is wide open. I mean wide open. Now, am I telling you everybody else would have done this? Hell no. I'm just telling you exactly what Braylon said, and it's one of the best segments you'll ever see. I'm glad we do it. It's just if he's predetermined who he's throwing to, which I don't think he does, because you can't live that way in the NFL. If it is predetermined, he's got a deeper problem, a big problem.
He as you know, and I was one of those guys. I legitimately, and I've confessed this, I thought he was done. He was shot in L.A.,
Yeah.
and a lot of it was because of the pressure. And I'll go back to what we were talking about 10 minutes ago. I mean, there are guys that handle pressure better. He is not one of them. He isn't. I mean, that's reality. After Michigan and the Lions game, at least I came out up 180 on FanDuel. I'll take the victories where they come. Greg jumped in. Greg, thank you. Braylon's breakdown was awesome. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says. Shep, I had the fortune of working with Joik. When you watch those guys that played at that level, they just speak in a different language than us. Okay,
Absolutely.
seriously, check your ego. They're at a different. Shh, class is in session. Shut up. You don't need to hear from me when Joik's breaking something down. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let me do some reads because I know we both want to watch the Vikings and the Bears. And can I throw this out there, Shep, and you can plug yours. Fuck the Bears. I hate the Bears. All right. This is why I feel better about myself now that he said it. Hey,
I don't like him either. I can't wait. I cannot wait for next week. So I want Detroit to steamroll them so bad and wipe this smug smile off certain people's faces. By the way, real quick before you get to the read, when people are asking why did they look at centers in the free agent, the one guy I had talked about, I'm not going to sit there and claim that this is what I predicted they should have done. But the one guy I was hoping they would at least express some interest in was Ryan Kelly. Ryan Kelly's 32. He's a center with Indianapolis. Really decorated, really good player. Minnesota grabbed him, I think, Sean, on a 2-year deal worth a little bit under $20 million total. So I think it was like over $10 million or right around $10 million per season. Don't quote me on that, but it's pretty close to it. I know he was hurt a little bit last year. He would have been a perfect fit, I think, for Detroit. Perfect.
Hey, if you're ready to take charge of your financial future, look no further than the Wealth Advantage Group, located in historic downtown Northville and owned by those two handsome guys right there. They have well over 20 years of industry experience, and they understand that your financial goals are as unique as you are. What works for Shep, what works for me, what works for you, 3 different things. That's why they offer personalized expert guidance to help you navigate the complexities of financial planning. Doesn't matter where you're at in life. I can't stress that enough. They work with clients throughout all stages of life and have clients in over 20 different states. The investment world is a complex one, but if you're ready to start taking your finances more seriously, it's time to work with the expert. They're great guys. They're friends of mine. They've taken care of my family. They will take care of you. The Wealth Advantage Group. Give them a call at 248-773-8574 or check out their website at www.thewealthadv.com. Shep,
when people tell us in the comments and they ask, what was the biggest disappointment, people will look at offense and they'll look at defense and look at certain players. I'll tell you what my biggest disappointment was. I thought Detroit was known as a physical team. I thought Detroit was viewed as, I know we love the word grit and we like putting it on hats and putting it upside down and putting it on shirts and sweatshirts and talking about biting kneecaps. I thought for the first time in at least a year, okay, because I don't remember at all last year this team getting out physicaled, if there's such a word. I thought Detroit looked like, they got beat up. I think Green Bay took it to them.
They did.
If it's a bare knuckles fight, I think Detroit came out bloodier. It's one thing losing; it's another thing losing your identity during the game. And I thought Detroit lost their identity a little bit, and that could be troubling for people if that's what you think, and that's what you witnessed, and if that continues, it's hard to get that back. That's a real problem. Let's hope that's not the case.
Hopefully they just treat this as a sort of a preseason tune-up game with all the changes on the team. Opening the season against Green Bay wasn't a good card draw. Learn from the mistakes. Look to next week.
Well, they tried to beat them 6 out of the last 7.
Yes.
Okay. So, a good draw. Last year they drew the Rams. They needed overtime. And then they lost to Tampa at home. So, what about 2 years ago? They drew the Chiefs, who just came off the Super Bowl championship. And they beat them in Kansas City. To me, that I don't care. How do you feel if you're Buffalo drawing the Bills and vice versa? How do you feel if you're Dallas going into Philly? Did you see Dallas open up against Philly? I know that the Eagles won, but why can they do what they do? I don't buy that. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't want to be too confrontational here. I don't buy that stuff. Hopefully they can learn from mistakes, but I don't understand why it means that suddenly it was not a good draw. You're going to have to play them twice anyway. Who cares? A lot of people thought it was a good draw because you get to prepare all that time for them, one. And two, you're going to get a good day. Would you rather play them in December? That's all we used to complain about.
The offense looks so flat and predictable. John said, I think the only 2 times Sean swears is when he's talking about the Bears and when he burns his brisket. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Shep, I have to say it. I think I know the answer before we get out of here, but level of concern with this team right now on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 is nothing. 5 is, yes, I'm concerned.
I would say 1.5 to 2, maybe 2.
I used the term so this morning, check out Shep every day, by the way, Woodward Sports 2 to 4, and we're on 8 to 10. We had low, mid, and high, and I used the term lid, right between low and right between mid.
About 2.
Yeah, that's same thing.
Yeah,
same thing.
I'm with you. Now, does that make this upcoming game against Chicago that much more important? You're damn right it does.
Yep.
Especially because game 3, you got to go to Baltimore. And you and I both watched Baltimore. One fell asleep, one turned it off. And we looked at the Ravens and we thought, how are you going to stop that? You're going to have to outscore them with the offense that just produced 13 points and really only seven of them came in the last 55 seconds. I don't know. That's pretty tough to do. So, yeah, I think that makes Sunday against Chicago, the home opener, key for sure.
Absolutely. Hey, when it's time to get yourself a house, you're buying, you're selling, oftentimes both, you need to contact the right agent. Who do we recommend? Well,
who do you love?
Fine lady right here. Your house is probably the biggest investment you will ever make, and that's why you need a pro. Lindsay grew up on the mean streets of Northville, has expanded her team all over Southeast Michigan. Listen, they are experts in all facets of the business. When it's time to move, our friend Lindsay and her team will make sure you get the most out of your house and everything goes smoothly when finding your new home. Buyer, seller, first-time buyer, doesn't matter. Make sure you contact Lindsay at BroadwellHomes.com. She'll help you with everything from start to close. Licensed realtor at Real Broker LLC. Start your search today at BroadwellHomes.com. Shep, any final words? I have one more read before we get out of here. But
yeah, I do. I think it's, first of all, I think if you're a Michigan State football fan, you should be really encouraged because I thought Aidan Chiles, even though he missed a couple of throws, which every college kid basically does, I thought he played really, really well. I thought the offensive line was really tough and gave you some good running yards at about 160 or so. So I thought that was really positive. And if you're Michigan, I mean, it just goes to show you why you can't get too high or too low and why you can't judge things so quickly. People had a tendency to do that with Arch Manning against a really good defense in Ohio State. Oh, he's really not that. And there was too much hype. And then he goes out and he played really well but against a less than team. Okay. So which way are you looking at? Bryce Underwood played really good against a less than team and then struggled against a really good defensive team, didn't he? So there's a balance there. There's a reason both of them are starters. There's a reason both of them are mentioned among the better college quarterbacks or will be better college quarterbacks. And I think people just have to realize that when you're 18 and you don't have a lot of games under your belt, you're going to make mistakes.
Shep, it drives me nuts. I think you have a absolute stud at wide receiver at Michigan State. I mean, I think that highly of Nick Marsh. I really do. When Aidan misses downfield, he doesn't just miss. He misses by a lot. And I think you get away with that against BC. And I think you get away with that next week against Youngstown State. He's got to tighten that up.
I agree.
He's got to tighten that up.
I don't disagree. I agree 100% with you. But again, a guy who I still think he's learning a little bit, Sean.
Oh, I do. Yes. Okay? Yes.
So, I mean, I think he's going to be okay. I'm not saying he's going to be a pro. I'm not saying he's the second coming of Jordan Love, for crying out loud. I'm just telling you, there's a reason for some encouragement there. Yep.
All right. One more thing, All About Catering LLC, full service caterer, graduations, weddings, bridal showers, corporate events, anything you need catering for, from 25 to 4,000 people. All About Catering can and will take care of you. Customer service and satisfaction is their number one goal. Rick and his staff are outstanding. Do not sweat your next big event. Go to allaboutcateringllc.com today to see their menus and all their 5-star reviews. You can give them a call direct, 586-731-1398 to get your event started. Shep, anything else? Check out Shep and Bray every day, 2 to 4 on Woodward Sports. Anything else you want to pimp?
No, good, buddy. Enjoy the game tonight.
God bless you. Enjoy, and go nuclear warhead to destroy both those.
You're going to root for J.J. McCarthy tonight. That's a first.
You know, I am. I hate to say, and the Vikings have taken a special place in my hate rankings, but it's
they're
kind
lower
of
than the Bears.
It's always those Bears, the Bruins and the Bears. There's something about Bears. I just fucking hate the Bears. There I go again. I'm sorry.
It's hard to blame you. Put another dollar in the tip jar or the swear jar, and we'll be seeing you next week.
Damn it. All right. God bless you all. We'll see you guys. Bye-bye. Take care. Bye.
Shep and Sean, featuring Matt Shepard and Sean Baligian. Executive produced by Sean Baligian and Todd Losey. Theme song, incidental music, and related sound effects are from Still Alive by Anti-Ghost. Engineering, mixing, and graphic design support provided by the Unsyndicated Podcast team. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all your favorite channels. While you're there, be sure to rate and review the podcast. Call the Unsyndicated hotline at 248-237-3257.
So I'm saying